All right, we should be all set.
Good morning, everyone. I will call this meeting to order. DeKalb County Commissioners. Today's date is December 8th, 2025. Morning, and off we go.
Well, good morning. Yes, off we go. Let me just say that the Job Classifications Subcommittee approved for me to send the facilities manager, maintenance director, whatever that job description will be, to forward that on to Wagner, Irwin, and Shealy. So that is in their hands. So we are moving along with that. And then Larry and I had a little discussion about the rest of his department. The job descriptions for the other two people and where they're both located in the classification system. So I gave him the current job descriptions, and he and I are going to talk about those. If you recall, they were rather quickly created because of the how fast that it was decided that we would have a second employee in that maintenance department. And then when we had the three departments come together to create, they wanted to have that one person that we have as the floater. So I think it's probably a good idea for us to at least review, take a look at what the one person who works with the director closely, who is potentially the one that will step up into that position. So at least you guys know it is moving along. For the last week and yet today and tomorrow, we have had Steel Benefit Systems having a couple enrollment specialists, benefit consultants, who had appointments with employees. They were for our voluntary insurances, the special enrollment time for the extra life, accidental death and dismemberment for employees that they would purchase for themselves or their children or their spouses. Also, they were offering critical care, and you had also authorized a hospitalization policy. And then, of course, the long-term disability for anyone not employed in the sheriff's office, so they could purchase those themselves. And initially, after almost a week, I'm going to say we probably should have, or Steel probably should have done a beta on this. We probably should have tried the system with the auditor's office and HR, kind of let us be the guinea pigs, work through it to try to, get over any bumps that we did experience on Tuesday. Last Tuesday was very stressful in HR, and for Steel also, to make sure that everything had been downloaded into their system, so that our employees then, if they wanted to look online and do anything for themselves online and not make an appointment with one of the benefit enrollers, that we had everything correct. And I feel that yeah. So when we have our call this week with them, we will have a whole list of things that, woulda, shoulda, coulda, and hopefully this is a great exercise for us, because this will be the system that we will use for our health plan enrollment in June. And okay, if we work out the bugs now, and hopefully then that very stressful time frame in June for open enrollment will be much less stressful for HR and for our employees to enroll. So anyway, I think, and they've been very nice, very competent to work with. They have fixed issues. We have punted questions to them because HR is not insurance agent, and we don't claim to be, and they are. So we go to the experts, and that is a little difficult for HR because we like to help employees solve their problems right then and there. And so when you have to punt to somebody else, it's like, but they are the experts, and we just, let them go ahead and help our employees. And hopefully it's leaves a good taste in their mouths. So we have that. The performance evaluations from our department heads have been coming in fast and furious. We do have department heads, by the way, who do their evaluations throughout the year. They will do it near the employee's anniversary date rather than wait to the end of the year when, council says, you must do it. They actually take it on and have nice conversations where they're not stressed about, a time crunch. And then we have others that will just do it mid-year, just because it's what they do. They will do their whole department. So anyway, those are coming in. I know you guys will be making appointments with the individuals that you have. And so I think we're on track for everybody's to be in by Friday so that payroll can flip a switch and do a lot of data entry in the system to make sure that all of the wages are correct. I'm going to let Morgan go ahead and talk about recruiting, hiring, and whatever else.
For the health department, the nurse opening closed on Friday. So hopefully they got a few good applicants, and we'll be interviewing them soon. Central actually posted their job on Facebook, and since they did that, I think we got about 40 responses. So it really helped. And I think last week we got about 3 completed packets, which the packets there's a lot of things to complete them. They have to go to work one, they have to do testing, it takes about 2 hours. They go get notarized. So that's a really good response, and hopefully we get a few more this week. And that's really it for hiring.
Okay.
We do want to make sure that you guys have been processing some of the information with a wellness program for plan year 26-27. We need to really be thinking about that so that employees can do whatever it is that you guys want them to do. And then when we have our open enrollment in June of 26, then it goes forward. So that leaves us with, really probably five months, January through May, to have our employees do something that you guys are going to want for a wellness plan. So, and I know Susan did a great job getting some information from her auditors group. So we don't want the ball to drop. Yep. The only other thing is, we have, the winding down of Sunny Meadows. And we had an email from Commissioner Dooley to all of us about what kind of the plan. It's so precarious because we don't know exactly, the definitive last date. So it's all very, up in the air, but we just want to make sure that we continue to monitor everything. And with our employees, we want to make sure that when it is time to release them, that there's that it leaves a good taste in their mouths, and that we have done them, a service that, we're sending them off, with a positive experience of working here for the county.
Yeah.
So, and I know that there's a council meeting this Wednesday that will be talking about, they will be talking about the stipend again.
Mm-hmm. That's a subject I'd like to address a little bit this morning even, because I would like to retract my approval of the $6,000 stipend. And the reason, if we're going to pay them $6,000, then we way underpaid Ben Parker in his stipend. And I understand, yeah, we should pay him something. But I'm not sure that 6,000 is appropriate under the circumstances. And we hear talk from the council about how strapped we're going to be budget-wise, and taking that into account, anything we can save is going to help going forward with our budget next year and the year after, obviously. So that's my thoughts on it. I think I would like to maybe introduce a different number for the stipend to present to council with the other commissioners. It'd be up to them, of course, to second that motion and move forward with it. But I'd like to recommend $1,500 as a stipend instead of the 6,000. I think that's more appropriate, more in line with what they have given us, done for us. I think. If you have any additional comments, Dottie, I would welcome those.
Well, when nationwide, the average for an employee who is being downsized or whatever, it's usually a severance or a stipend of 1 week's pay per 1 year of service. We have one employee out there who has really a little over 2 years of experience out there who is, and that's the most of anyone. So you do have another one who has worked out there about 15 months now. And so if you took a look at their wages, you know, I think this 1,500 would be very, very nice. We do have 3 full-time employees, and then we have a part-time employee. There had been a comment made during the council meeting that, and we're thrilled that these employees have stuck around, but there were no promises made to any of them that they would have a job until May of 2026. At least from the part of HR and from the part of the former director out there when she hired at least 2 of the employees. So there's no promise. There was also a suggestion that as a part of a stipulation of them receiving that $6,000 that they waive their right to unemployment, and that's just not right. We ran it past our council, and he ran it past somebody who deals with that, and that's you just shouldn't ask that of an employee. There are you have current employees that have worked a long time, and we have a longevity schedule. After an employee hits 5 years of employment, they receive $600 for longevity, a thank you for being here for that long. And that's 5 years of service here, $600, and there have been some comments made that you have individuals who are leaving who will be receiving $6,000 after a maximum of really just a little over of 2 years of service. And so that does cause some morale issues with certain employees. Another issue is Commissioner Dooley has a relationship with Manpower. We have 3 Manpower employees out there working, and I would think that if one of our employees would have left us to go to another employment, that Manpower would have been happy to supply us with another housekeeper. So as much as I appreciate them sticking around and providing the services that they have, that it's just seems excessive. Everybody would love $6,000, I'm sure, but I'm not sure that that's really fair. And even fair within the 3 full-time people and the 1 part-time person. You know, I would think that they would have issues with that part-time person getting the same amount that they had gotten. So those are a few comments that I would like to make.
Comments from the commissioners?
Dottie, so every 5 years they get just an additional 600?
Basically, yes, yes. So on your 10-year anniversary, you get $1,200. And that goes into your first paycheck of December. So this Friday, those employees who have been here at a minimum of 5 years will be getting their longevity pay. It goes into your paycheck. So it will be taxed appropriately, which means that, you probably will get $300 if you're the $600 person, or $600 if you're the $1,200 person. I know that comment was made with council that, the Sunny Meadows employees after taxes and things would only get $3,000. Same is true for everybody. It's the tax system, and it's up to what those individuals have for their exemptions.
Yeah, and obviously we have no way of calculating that without seeing the year-end tax statement.
Right.
Some of them might not have to pay any taxes. Depends on what they earn and what their income level is and where they fall in the
Yeah, and I'm not sure that we even need to be worried about that.
Yeah, I mean, everybody pays their taxes.
Exactly, yeah.
Obviously, we can't compensate for taxes paid, but one thing I did want to add, if we was to apply the longevity paid, nobody out there would even qualify.
You're correct. Yeah, nobody has worked there for 5 years. We haven't actually had that situation for several years, having anybody work there that long.
Commissioners, any comments? Ellen, you have anything?
Well, we made the recommendation. It's in council's hands. I think council will do their due diligence and they'll make the final decision. So I guess I'll stay with my recommendation and right or wrong. I have several employees that are not happy with us making that recommendation, and maybe it was right, maybe it was wrong, but we live with the consequences of our actions, and life goes on. But the council, has been discussing this, and we'll make the ultimate decision. So I put it in their hands and let them do their, like I said, due diligence, and whatever decision they make is going to be the final decision no matter what. So.
Okay, I just went on the record, though, that I am not approving. I went that withdrawn. I don't think did we do a motion, or did we just do a consensus?
We did a motion.
I was looking for that. Do you remember what date? I'm looking for that. But I do have it noted in here that you retract that. Can't remember what meeting we. Review them again. I don't see one. I see that on the October 27th meeting that we had the Sunny Meadows Committee had met. They would like to retain the land and turn it into a green space. They also feel that 2 months of pay would be a good stipend for the 4 county employees that have remained with us through the transition of the residents, knowing the facility would be closing.
I have down, and I just see the same notes. My notes say 2 months' worth of pay, 1,500 for 4 of them. Does that add up to 6,000? No?
There wasn't a 1,500 for 4.
Or, okay, that's what I had down.
It would add 6,000, but
So I don't see an actual motion.
I have
think
consensus of all 3 commissioners
recommendation.
to support this. Kellen strongly recommends this. There is money consensus. What I have.
I withdraw my consensus. Need a motion?
So, then for your motion of today,
Yeah.
of the 1,500,
If there's no second, I guess you said it yourself. I think if there's no second, it dies for lack of a second.
Is there a second on my 1,500? Second, okay.
okay. I just wanted to make that clear, thank you.
Just want it in the minutes.
Got it.
Okay, moving on.
Do you have anything else for us?
Gee whiz, I don't think so.
I do have a quick question. When I keep moving this from folder to folder, when do we need to talk about that Samaritan plan thing? Or is that,
I want to look into that a little bit more.
Yeah, that is,
Okay.
we'll have to look at that after January because we've missed the deadline for, implementing it as of January, but it will have to be while we're doing open enrollment. So, yes, and we've been in touch with Apex and talking to them about what the possibilities are. There were several opportunities to watch videos to go into more detail. The Samaritan goes into more detail of how the plan works and, how it works for the employee, how it works for the employer. And so I went on that website, and because all the ones were from earlier this year, I can't get in, they stop you. So as soon as those are available, we will be back in touch and we will let you guys know because we don't want that to fall either.
so we still have the ability, I shouldn't say we, they still have the ability if they decide that we're gonna do it, that we can have it start with our new plan?
Yes.
Okay.
As far as we know, that will still be a viable option.
Okay.
Yep. So we're trying not to let it drop.
Anything else? Anything for Dottie? Okay,
Okay, great.
you're excused to go back out into the cold. All right, moving forward. Mr. Gomer, you are up. Good morning.
Do you want to do the public nuisance ordinance or the ETJ first?
I don't care.
ETJ is on the agenda for now.
I would say ETJ was on the
Okay,
agenda.
we'll do the other after. Coming up, Mr. Provines.
Thank you.
ETJ agreement, extraterritorial jurisdiction agreement that we have proposed with the city of Butler. This extraterritorial jurisdiction is already in place with Butler for roads that are in your packets. I included the existing ETJ area on the second to last page, and then on the last page is the ETJ expansion proposed. That won't be in the recorded document, but just for your guys' records. So the City of Butler adopted a new comprehensive plan last month. Is that true? And so with that new comprehensive plan, Indiana code requires that if a municipality exercises extraterritorial jurisdiction outside of their municipal limits, you have to have an agreement with the county in which the municipality is in. So that's what we are coming forward for today, is the agreement. There's been an extraterritorial jurisdiction in the second to last page, the area that's not expanded, for a long time. Before I got here, probably, I would say 20 years or so, maybe? 20
At least 01. I think the last comprehensive plan was in 01.
01, okay.
So.
So at least since 2001, so you're looking at 25 years ago. That math right? Yeah, 25 years ago. So there's been, they've been practicing extraterritorial jurisdiction. Now we have to have the agreement. We have this, basically the exact same agreement with Auburn, Garrett, and Waterloo, because they all practice extraterritorial jurisdiction. And then, like I said, Butler's is basically what we're doing is just putting in writing what the practice has been for the last at least 25 years.
Including the extra strip as well. So
Plus
it's like putting into the practice for the prior years plus the extra strip.
Correct.
We had asked for an extension. It made sense. We have the border on our northern edge, our eastern edge, part of our western edge. We just want to finish out that box and give ourselves the same amount as the rest.
Yeah, and that discussion, sorry, go ahead.
And the only thing we changed in that boilerplate agreement was we gave Butler a little more wiggle room to say, we're not going to force you into sewer, we're not going to force you into water. Yep. If you want a well, if you want a septic, we just gave ourselves a little more language so that we could not make them do that, or have a better way of saying you can do what you need to do in the country.
Right. And the second I said that, it loses your train of thought if I don't get it out the second it comes to my lips, but it may come back. So with that, we can go through this agreement. I don't believe Jim or Kellen has been through an extraterritorial jurisdiction agreement. Maybe Jim, were you on Auburn? No, you weren't on Auburn's. You were on our planning commission though for prior to. Yeah, so you may have seen these before, but I think Bill may have been the only commissioner over recent that's had these come through his eyes. But anyway, so what we have proposed is basically the City of Butler will exercise planning and zoning jurisdiction. That's basically what Part 2 on page 2 identifies. It states that basically anything within that area will go to their planning commission for any zoning matters. Drainage Board still has approval of drainage plans within the extraterritorial jurisdiction. Floodplain management goes through their local flood ordinance. And then any wetland protected areas go through, wellhead protection areas go through their zoning. Sewer hookup, like Andrew said, is kind of the only thing that we revised a little bit. Basically, what it does is require new developments and new constructions within 300 feet of a gravity sewer to hook into the municipal system, unless the cost of doing so is 2 times the cost of installing a septic on the site. It does give the flexibility for the city to bridge that gap. Again, this is really no skin off your guys' back, but just so you know, may bridge the gap between the sewer hookups if it does exceed the 2 times requirement rule, but then also gives the City of Butler the right to forego sewer connections. Really, if it just doesn't make sense financially to run a sewer a half mile or quarter mile or 3/4 of a mile, whatever it might be, to pick up 1 or 2 homes in a potentially new development, or 4 or 5 if it's a subdivision. Next, on section 3, gives them subdivision control. So kind of we have our plat committee reviews our subdivisions, gives them the ability to have that subdivision control, which, again, they've been doing in the existing ETJ. On page 5 in section 4, or part 4, is permitting. Again, just like they've been doing, they issue the improvement location permits, and then the county, as you guys know, issues the building permits for anything within the city of Butler and their ETJ. Anything that may need to go to the Board of Zoning Appeals goes to the city's BZA. And then what we've added since recent is the enforcement of the public nuisance ordinance. So anything within the ETJ area doesn't go to the city of Auburn, or sorry, city of Butler, but goes to our code enforcement for public nuisance. Extraterritorial jurisdiction determination, as you see on page 6, it includes the kind of L shape to the south, County Road 34 north to County Road 61 east, and then 71 west. It's in that area labeled or shown in red. Then it just gets into, on section 7, kind of the legalese matters of it all. We will have an effective date, if it gets passed effective today, for this to take place. We do allow for 4-year, basically, reviews and revisions if necessary. If nothing does get revised, it just remains in effect until it's modified by the city or the county.
What is the current zoning in that extraterritorial, the additional strip?
It's a
gonna be?
mixture. We had heavy industrial, we had residential, we had agricultural, so when we.
Is it gonna stay the same initially?
When
they adopt it in?
Not initially. When we brought people in, we notified them, let them know, et cetera. Most people didn't say they wanted anything different. There was one large chunk of land that was a farm field, has always been a farm field, will always be a farm field. And they were zoned residential by the county. We brought them in as agricultural.
So everybody got the zoning they either had or wanted?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So the next exhibits after your signature pages are road issues that, should there be any addition of roads that are in the ETJ, they must follow our county standards. So those are the county standards that have been in place for a while. It's the same, that's what we have in Auburn and Garrett and Waterloo. And then Exhibit E is what the city of Butler added for what their uses are in their ag district, their heavy industrial, and their single-family residential districts. So again, like Andrew just said, basically everything's remaining the same except for the large tract of agricultural land that was just south of the school.
South of the school and the industrial area over there.
Yeah. So with that, I'd be happy to take any questions you have. It did go to Plan Commission. Oh gosh, what date was that?
November 19th.
November 19th, thank you, Susan. And got a favorable recommendation from the Plan Commission. This has gone to both the Butler Plan Commission and Butler City Council, and they've adopted this as well.
Okay, any additional questions, comments for Chris?
So these two maps are exactly the same?
They are, and Chris had this one upside down. I was looking at it, I'm like, it doesn't make any sense.
When it was stapled?
Yeah. They are, except for just that red chunk on the last page is what we added to ours.
That's not being recorded that way.
In that, as you can see, I mean, it boxes it off perfectly. This was not, hey, I'm gonna get more ETJ. This actually had been out there for 2 planners.
Yeah, that's what I was
No
gonna
one
say.
had moved it through. And when I was going through files and stuff, and Chris, and he's like, this has been proposed kind of for years.
Yeah.
I was like, well, that's perfect. It boxes off our ETJ. It's not a weird shape. It makes sense. So we're like, yeah, let's go. Since we're doing a comprehensive plan anyways, it's a perfect time to do it.
And these people are okay with that?
There was a lot of questions. A lot of people didn't want it just for the pure perspective of it's something new. They're under a different jurisdiction. There are a lot of questions about taxing, which we explained. This changes nothing with taxing. We don't control your taxing. All this changes is the zoning. You come to me when you want to do something. I give you a permit, just like I would for anyone else in the city or in the rest of the ETJ. Something I didn't realize until recently is our rates are a lot lower, so they'll actually be saving money. Now, at some point, we will raise our rates. We have to. We haven't raised them in forever, but we still intend to actually give the people in the ETJ a discount on that, because people in the city have always been following this process, and what it is they have to go to me, and then they have to go to the county for their building permit, whereas these folks in the ETJ could just go to the county and be done with it, but they paid a lot more. So they'll always be paying a little bit less, actually, by us taking that ETJ and doing the zoning for that.
They'll pay
Really-
less for their improvement location permit.
Yes.
So the building permits are the same.
They'll still pay the
fees.
same at the county for the building permit, but they pay less for our improvement location permit, which
Yeah.
they have to have for the county as well. So they'll be saving a little bit of money. But really, the biggest changes are come to me, I give you a permit. You need a variance, come to me, and we'll get you signed up, and we'll go through our BZA instead of going through the county's BZA. If you want to put a big operation, a business or something, come to our plan commission and let our plan commission talk through it instead of the county.
I was at the meeting, you guys presented it, all the information they're presenting now is the exact same thing they told all the people.
Yeah.
They had a lot of questions, but no one was adamantly against it, they just had a lot of questions. So,
Most of them just didn't want to change.
yeah, they just had questions about taxation,
Yeah, that was
stuff
a
like
lot of
that,
it.
and ordinance, city ordinance versus county ordinance.
That was a big one. Are you going to enforce our noise ordinance on us? Are you going to do these things on the parking?
Animals and that sort of thing.
Right, in which, no, we're not, our city codes do not apply to them. It's just our zoning.
Purely the zoning.
Yep.
That's the only thing.
Yep. And I'll say it again, this does not change anyone's taxing. We are not taxing you, city taxes, the county still takes care of it, so.
Okay. Entertain a motion. Approve.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and second on the floor. Any additional comments? Comments from the public? Yes, sir. Come on up, state your name, make sure that blue light's on that mic. Find the button.
There we go. My name's Larry Kegley. I live at 3371 State Road 1, Butler, Indiana. And I own two properties. I own some woodland over on County Road 63, basically right across from this Tri-State Motorsport Cycle Club. I've been to a couple of the city meetings in Butler. The city said they wanted to square off this ETJ to the south. So they have equal jurisdiction north and south. I pulled up the beacon map and the measurement tool, and north to south, it's currently about as square as it can get. With my measurements, we're within about 300 feet. That's a rough guess on the measurement tool. There is one section between County Road 63 and County Road 61 on the map. That would actually square it up, north to south. Between 32 and 34, that adds an additional, I don't know what it would be, 2,000 feet. In this new expansion of the ETJ, there's roughly 147 acres of woodland. And I am not real sure why the city wants jurisdiction over woodland and farmland.
How many acres did you say? There's roughly what? How many acres of woodland?
one, roughly 147. On my 9 point whatever acres over there, I like to hunt. And, you know, one of my fears is that at some point I may not be able to hunt my own land. I bought this land in 2016. And currently working on building a home on that. I've worked with Chris and Charity over there with building permits, and I've done my soil test for my septic, et cetera. And I know Andrew has spoken about people building close to the Tri-State Motocross there. And that is close. Basically, right across the road. I'm familiar with the Tri-State Motors Club over there. And the noise doesn't bother me. I can hear it from where I currently live over on State Road 1. They're not a problem. It's great that they can run their business out there and people can get outside. Andrew had spoke about, I believe it was in a county meeting, I watched the minutes on the YouTube, about letting people do what they've always been able to do until the land changes hands or sells. Will that be documented, or?
So what, we had actually gone through all of this, and that's what we were intending to do. We did not do that, and the reason is nobody lost anything. So there wasn't a need for the historical. We were gonna do that particularly on ag, but after we went through it, no one lost the ability to do anything. Yeah, and the uses are all similar. As far as hunting goes, you're not gonna lose the right to hunt. We're not, once again, our ordinances for the city, or our codes, are not going to apply to you. The Tri-State Motor Club had raised some concerns because they have very loud, and they wanted to know if our codes for noise were gonna apply to them. We said absolutely not. One of the things we did mention though is, let's say that someone comes in and they come to me and I know locally that that club is very loud and they wanna build over there, but they don't realize this. I would have the ability to say, hey, I'm pretty local and I know that this is loud. Do you really wanna build a house here? Or would you rather look for a different piece of property? Just as a pre-warning. Sometimes the county is not fully aware of the ins and outs right next to the city, you know, noises, things like that. But we had mentioned that. As far as the square, I see what you're saying. So you're saying just extending like 300 foot would make it a perfect square?
By my measurements on the map, if we are at the intersection of State Road 1 and US 6, I'm going to call that the heart of the city.
Okay.
If we go north to County Road 24, we're at 5,062 feet going north. South, we're 5,364 feet currently.
That's my fault. I didn't phrase it properly. The point was we have, if you look at the map, we have this much on the north end of the city limits. It was to bring that down to the next road, so that we also had that same buffer on the south side. I said square. I was using a general square it up, as in give us kind of the same border on all sides. So that's my fault. I didn't mean a perfect square. I didn't mean a square. I meant give us the same border on each side. I should have been more specific about that.
In general, if you follow county roads, it's never going to be perfectly square.
No, I mean, this was as close as we could get. Yeah. And like I said, this was not, I didn't come out when we started, let's finalize this comprehensive plan. I didn't say, let's expand the ETJ. We pulled up some old files 2 planners ago and it was like, oh, that actually makes a lot of sense. Like, you know, as far as you building, I want you to build. I mean, you could even see in the ETJ agreement, the sewer and all that kind of stuff, like, we want you to do that. The city doesn't want to extend all the way out there into the ETJ when we don't have to. And everything you're doing with Chris and them, on that, soil tests, et cetera, I mean, that's all still valid, Chris, right? I mean, all of that work. Yeah, but, right. But as far as a building permit, still county.
Right.
As far as putting in a septic, a well, all county, you're still good to go there. And he has been at both city meetings, very good questions, lots of conversation, so.
Okay.
One of my other concerns is, we'll kind of, in a way, be governed by the city, but we won't be able to vote in city elections. I like to exercise my right to vote.
So
Code. I assume that's in the state code.
it is, and I actually gave this a lot of thought, because it was a very good question. And even Amy Prosser had gotten up and spoken on it during the city meeting. The ETJ has 2 representatives. So they do have representation within the ETJ.
On the Plan Commission.
On the Plan Commission. Now, if we were changing their tax structure, if we were changing what they had to pay for taxes, it would make sense that they would be able to vote in a city election. But we're not changing any money they pay. We're not changing the taxes that they pay. Now, if the ETJ was able to vote, they would be able to vote out who they want, put in who they wanted, vote out who they wanted, and not suffer any ramifications of a change in taxes. So they could effectively put whoever they wanted in within the city, taxes could change, but it would have no repercussion to them. So it doesn't make sense that they would have an actual vote in city elections, but it does make sense that they have representation on the Plan Commission for themselves.
If I could speak to that too, it's the state legislature, Larry, is it?
Yes.
It's a state legislature that probably 30 years ago, maybe, more than that, created the extraterritorial jurisdiction. I remember the first time I heard about it, I thought, well, this is weird. Why would a city or town get to control part of the county? But that's what I guess they decided to help the cities and towns be able to have some influence on what the sides of their borders look like, basically. Do they want housing in this area? Do they want industry in this area? That sort of thing. And for whatever reason, the state legislature decided that this was a positive thing. Now, we might all agree or disagree with it now, but it is something the state legislature said is possible to do. Or that kind of allowing cities and towns to have some influence. So maybe it makes, it probably, as towns and cities increase in size, like Carmel or Indianapolis or Fort Wayne, they can kind of make sure that things that are consistent with that are on their borders. That's the idea of it.
As we bring them in, your ag, your heavy industrial, your heavy industrial. You have permitted uses. That's why we're bringing you in under the same categories. I can't say no to what they can do, right? It's not like I can say, well, you're in a single family residence, I'm not gonna allow you to build a house. I can't do that. They still get to do what they're able to do with their property.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, any other comments? If hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries.
Thank you, guys. This is great. We've been trying to get the comprehensive plan completely passed over at Butler, so we appreciate your guys' help.
Okay. Moving on.
Okay, do you want to do the public nuisance ordinance while Chris is here?
Let's do it. I think we can do it pretty quick, can't we?
I think so.
Let's do it quick. You have the changes or the corrections? No.
I made sure they're all done. Triple checked it yesterday.
Double checked? Take your word for it.
I'll show, I got copies.
I got the guillotine ready if you.
Maybe not. Susan?
I just kind of put in a.
You. Okay, so revisions have been made. They are corrected, specifically under abandoned vehicles, having a valid registration. On page 3, the resident can live directly across DeKalb County lines to offer a complaint. But really, everything is the same, I believe. Susan made a couple small tweaks with it, but everything that we've discussed is the same.
The only things that I changed was, we had talked about having it listed that whatever your hearing place was, the Commissioner's Court. It originally had said Darrell D. Cruz, Commissioner's Court in the courthouse. So I just changed it to Commissioner's Court of DeKalb County, so that if your courtroom ever changes, we don't have to redo it.
Good change.
Yeah. So with that, if there's any questions or anything like that, I'd be happy to take them. I can go through the ordinance again if you want, as well, but
I don't think that.
I think we've gone through it a lot.
Yeah, I think we've been through it a couple, 3 times.
Yeah.
Just so the changes are in there that.
Yeah, they are.
Pointed out. Any questions, comments, commissioners?
I apologize.
Motion to approve?
I would so move we accept county ordinance number 2025-0-7 as presented
On first reading.
on first reading, sorry.
A motion second, additional comments. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, oppose, motion carries. I'm going to suspend the rules and do second and third.
I have another concern I want to look at, so can we wait till next meeting to do the second and third?
Yep,
There's an idea that I've been pondering, I haven't figured out how to exactly do it yet, so.
okay. That'll work.
Okay. See you next meeting.
Take care. Stay safe.
Always stay warm.
That's staying safe. Same thing.
Chris. Jace?
Page 2. I just, I guess, Andrew, the Albright property,
Yes.
I've been past it several times, and I'm sorry, there's absolutely, whatever his lawyer is saying is, nothing has happened. Absolutely nothing has moved.
And for the record, his lawyer is only reporting what he's hearing from his client, not out of,
Yeah,
personal.
I understand.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make it public
Okay.
that his lawyer's saying one thing, which is what he's getting from Mr. Albright,
Right.
but there's absolutely nothing has moved, nothing.
Okay. Well, they have about 2 more weeks to respond to our discovery. When that happens, then we can proceed forward with the case and do a motion. I'm planning to do a motion for a summary judgment, meaning trying to win the case based on our affidavits and evidence without having to go through a trial, because there just isn't enough progress.
Yeah, pick that up next meeting.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I met with him Saturday, and I don't think he's gonna do anything. He's not gonna budge. And he would thought it was just the piles of poles that all he had to take care of, and I said, no.
Yeah, they moved him back behind the trees.
Yeah, they're trying to hide him.
Moved him around.
They're not what they call removed.
Right,
They were moved, but not removed.
right.
Yeah.
And I told him,
Well, I had you two gentlemen here, it's something I wanted to address, and I thought it best if the two of you were here, so.
Yep.
Yeah,
All right, thanks, Jim. All right,
thank you.
get out of here. Mr. Parker, you are up.
Your infection that turned into.
Oh. Am I? Hey, thank you.
Chris is staying.
Supposed to get a picture of this for Dottie.
Got a picture? You guys want to get in the picture?
Oh, congratulations,
Man.
Ben.
Yeah.
How many years?
10 years.
10 years, wow,
Yeah.
wow.
Well, here.
Put up with it 10 years, another 10 is probably impossible.
Might be.
Andrew, you want in? Come on in.
I'll go on this side with Jim. Here we go. There you go. All right.
Thank you, guys.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you, guys. Appreciate that very much. So that's what I was asked to come up early for, huh?
Well, Bill has to leave early today, so he wanted to be able to do it while he was here.
Gotcha.
Okay, Ben, what you got for us?
Well, I got a letter from SurfNet, catch some of you guys up to speed here. They started working again last week on some roads that they wasn't supposed to. They had to stop work order. So I went out and we talked to them, we stopped them, and then they asked about proceeding forward. And I explained to them about the stop work order and where we was at. And they asked about if they would give us a letter or statement stating that they will remove the conduit once the weather allows, because we did get a lot of snow. They're worried about traction on pulling this. I can see it both ways. I think that they could probably remove it. But they also are operating off of a grant to put all this in. And there's deadlines on that, and they're worried about meeting that as well. We have a $100,000 bond on them. And now we have this letter that Pat McCauley sent to me late Friday afternoon stating that they will pull this or pull the old conduit, new conduit that was installed incorrectly when the weather allows. Mr. Shane Gann also called Bill on Friday, Hartman, talked to him, then Bill called me and we spoke about it briefly. I thought about this a little bit, and again, it's totally your guys' discretion what you'd like to do, but as far as SurfNet, I'm disappointed because they've had a lot of errors. Not just this one, since they've been working in the county. This project, or this process has not gotten better. It's everything that they're on. They put it in wrong, they put it in the wrong place next to the road. That point, I don't feel really too bad for them, and I told them that Friday. The only reason I'm considering about moving forward with this is if you guys decide so, is it's more so for the residents in the county that don't have internet. That's the people that if we hold them up, they lose their grant, that's gonna suffer from us holding it. What they did is wrong, it needs to be removed. And I'm okay with letting them go forward if you guys are. Like I said, we have their bond. We have a letter. If Andrew's okay with the verbiage on it. If not, like I said, I didn't get this sent out because he sent it late Friday and
That's my question, if you don't mind. Andrew, is with this letter, if they don't do it, this letter is enough proof to take them to court saying that they promised that they would?
Well, so what I look at is whether or not something is an unenforceable promise, or is there legal consideration for that promise, making it binding contract. And in looking at this letter, it says their commitment to remove the improperly placed, referred to as K, surfing is direct commitment of the conduit. So it is, work with us on this removal.
Would that be kind of irrelevant though, considering we do have the bond?
We do have the bond. I think it's very helpful that we have the bond.
I don't know if this letter meant anything or.
This,
you know what
this
I mean?
letter is something that we can certainly use against them. They theoretically could argue it's just a promise, so what are we doing in response? What, we do have something that we're giving up, which would be our right to make them pull it out now. I guess if I was writing it up, I would have added that paragraph in there saying, you know, like they admit that they have the duty to do it, number one, that they are agreeing to do it when the conditions, road and weather conditions allow it to maintain clean and safe removal, and they acknowledge that the county is or they're hoping that the county, because of the way it's set up with this just being their promise, I would say it's enforceable more because we have a bond and less because of the letter, but we could certainly use it against them. It's not necessarily a binding contract signed by both sides, but so take it for what it's worth, maybe is the right way to say. I mean, it's valuable because they can't, you know, it's going to be hard for them to get out of it, but.
no, we could, if you guys wanted to proceed, have Andrew send me what he'd like to see in it, make it contingent on them adjusting their letter accordingly.
I mean, I could add another couple of sentences to it potentially.
One of the issues that I have is it doesn't have an end date, that they have to have it done by.
That's true too, yes.
Because, I mean, to say it, we'll do it when the condition, maybe conditions for them are never acceptable. And that it just
We could say
drags out 2 years, and obviously,
How long would it take them to get it out if they just put all their energy into it? Let's say the road and weather conditions get better mid-March. I mean, I don't know when it'll get better, but let's say mid-March. Should it take them 2 weeks and they'll be done, or?
Boy, I don't know. I can't answer that, Andrew. I haven't.
Okay.
I've never
We could
pulled that.
say be done by the end of April or something.
Yeah, I would say so. April.
March could be a problem if we get a hard freeze and this thing freezes in, they'll never pull it. till it
Could we say
falls out.
be done by mid-May, by end of April?
I would say May 1st, May 15th, something
Okay.
like that. That gives them
Okay.
April.
Fall out, yeah.
if they're gonna, they said they're gonna pull it, they're not gonna dig it up?
They think they can pull it.
And then do they have to redo it then?
They've already redone it.
Oh, they've already redone it, they just have to pull the old out. So maybe by May 1st would make sense. If they're just gonna pull it, that should be done.
Cut
If
every
it
so-
pulls,
If it pulls,
Every so often pull out a section.
they could do it within a few days theoretically if they worked hard at it.
they've got quite a bit, but they could pull it all. If they worked at it, they could.
It's either gonna pull or not, right? I mean, if it pulls, then they can just keep pulling, but.
Again, a concern I would have is, it goes in a lot easier than it'll come out.
Oh, really?
That's very true.
It is plastic. And if you pull it so far, it could just,
Crack.
well, just break off. And now you got a section left that's not gonna get pulled up.
See, when they bore that, Andrew, they'll go through and they'll bore that hole bigger than the conduit. Conduit slides in, and as we get rain, freezing, thawing, it
Settles
settles
back.
around it, tightens up.
Well, didn't they ditch it, was the problem?
No,
Oh, they bored it.
They just bored it too close to the road.
well,
No,
not deep
and
enough.
shallow.
Deep enough, yeah.
Shallow. Way too,
What?
way
And
too shallow.
Too shallow,
Yeah, it's
okay.
like 18 to 20 inches deep.
Well, we could say must be done by May 15th, so at least there's a final end date in there, 2026. And,
The we could word in there, if it's not complete by then, we're gonna issue a stop work order on all their work until it's done.
Yeah, or another stop work order.
will be issued. Yep.
That way they don't, that way they know they gotta do it. We worked with them.
We could do May 22nd, because the next commissioner meeting will be the 26th, that following Tuesday.
Okay, May 22nd.
Because the other one's the 14th, the 11th, so if we do it up to that Friday before a meeting, that way if we know it's not done, then we can make it a motion.
And I think I'm putting in here, I'll put in something along the lines of SurfNet acknowledges the county will rely upon the promise or statement in this letter to lift the current stop work order, something like that. But then you're still gonna need a motion, I think, to do all of this, subject to my language being added.
And them accepting it, right?
And them accepting it, yeah. They'll have to issue a new updated letter.
What do you need today, then?
I think a motion to say that Ben can release or the stop work order if SurfNet does a letter, a new letter with the language I was reading.
On your
the record.
approval of the letter.
On my approval with the additions that I discussed.
Up to you guys.
So moved.
Motion and second, additional comments? All those in,
Oh, go ahead.
all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
Okay, we're moving forward with the what?
Oh, with allowing Ben Parker, or having Ben Parker release the stop work order that the highway department has on SurfNet. So there's currently a stop work order.
Okay,
They authorized it to be released if SurfNet does another letter with my additional language.
okay.
I was gonna bring this subject up, since we're on it anyway. This past week, I was at the Indiana Commissioners Conference, and SurfNet Internet had a booth there. And I stopped by and I met Scott Franco, who is the Director of Business Development and Community Relations. And I had a very, very frank conversation, told him I had a stop work order. He said he'd do nothing of it, what the issue was. And I'm wondering if that's why you got a phone call on, what, Friday? So that would have been Wednesday when I talked to him. He was very disturbed, didn't know anything about it, and I was very frank and said that if they want to do business in this county, they better get their act together and get it act together very, very soon, which is, I'm guessing, why this letter was sent. So anyway, yeah, it was not a pleasant conversation for him, nor me, but I felt like this is somebody that's, I think, like down the chain, third person down from the president and vice president. And so hopefully the message got through, which apparently they're trying, so.
Now, the gentleman that called Bill, he was from Direct Line.
From where?
Direct Line. That was Shane Gann. And Pat McCauley is with SurfNet. So them two work together with the boring. Direct Line has it installed. SurfNet's internet, the way I understand it. So the both of them are in.
Yeah, well, if you have any more issues, I think I'll just give you this card, and you can contact this Mr. Franco directly, and we'll see where it goes. But
Okay.
if they don't have immense improvement very soon, it's, the citizens of the county are the ones that are going to get.
Right, and that's why I thought about it after me and Bill talked too, is that it's not so much for them, because they've made enough mistakes. I don't mind making an exception, everybody makes mistakes, but there's been a lot.
Yeah.
And like I say, it's the
Well, just the
citizens.
fact that they had crews working on Saturday and Sunday with no supervisor, Mr. Franco was very disturbed about that as well.
Right.
So,
Okay.
You got some other business to cover before you leave, Bill? Because I can come back in.
I have nothing. I gotta take off. Did you finish up with what you got with?
Yeah, I just had a few things.
Yeah, I'm gonna book out of here. Before I go, one thing, the scheduled meetings next week, I'd like to table that.
Okay.
Let's table that.
Meetings?
Yeah. Table that for 2 weeks and get back in that, the next meeting. So other than that, I turn over to, Vice Presidents. You can flip for who has the gavel.
Rock, paper, scissors, perhaps, could be a legal way of handling it.
Before you go, what's your thoughts on the CDL physical reimbursements? The CDL physical reimbursements, you want to table that till next meeting? It's on the discussion topics.
That was just the email that I sent you guys because none of you responded to me. So I put it on here to discuss it, to find out if it was that set amount per year or if we can do more than the up to 105 or whatever it said.
In the past, we've done, well, there's no guarantee on any driver, your time you're gonna get. You're gonna get a 6 month, you're gonna get a 1 year, you're gonna get a 2 year. That's all the doctor's discretion. I'm pretty upset with the whole CDL physical thing, because personally I feel it's a money grab on a lot of it for what they put us through. A lot of that is just doctor's discretion. The one that raised the question was one of my younger employees. They dinged him for a sleep study, and only gave him a 3-month, I think 3-month extension. So he had to go for the sleep study. He had to pay for all that out of his own pocket. Insurance don't pay for that. And then you got to go back in and get your CDL renewed. So that's part of holding your license. That's part of the requirement we have for your license. I mean, you got to have the license to drive. It don't happen all the time, but it happens. I've had some get whatever, and they get a 6-month extension. And the thing is ironic is you can think you're perfectly healthy, but going for a CDL physical and you'll find out different. Because I think it's just how they do it. I could be wrong, but it's pretty discouraging. That's why I've asked before about permission to have us go different areas to different doctors, because there's some I tell them too, I think it's a money grab. Way to get people in and out and come back for petty.
Do you know how much the sleep study cost?
I think, well, they gotta have the study done, and then they gotta buy the machine as well, if they get diagnosed with it. I think the study's $300 to $500 out of pocket. And then the machine, unless they buy it, or rent it, I think it's like $1,500 for the machine. And then once they have that, that machine is hooked to, most of them go through like a wireless net, and it reports to them every day, the doctor. And then when they go in for their physicals, they actually got to take that report in. They got to have it on, what is it, 80% of the time, or they'll fail. If they don't have that machine on, that machine registers when you're on it. It's a pain. And I think I've got some that's on it that I don't think ought to be on it, because he brought in his report, he has 0 episodes. But
I mean, if the sleep study shows that you don't have sleep apnea, they ought not to
it goes off.
make them do the machine.
You're a male,
Right.
over 40, and one other thing, and boom, you're going for it.
Yeah, but the sleep test would hopefully show I mean, they don't order the machines unless the sleep test shows they're
No,
failing
but
them, or?
you go to one doc and you gotta have, I'm just guessing, let's just say you gotta have a sleep study number of 4 or higher. One that I know is on it, his is .07. We shouldn't even be having that discussion.
Right.
After a certain point.
Yeah.
But there again, whoever the doctor that does the CDL physical has to approve you to come back.
And it's not the family docs doing it, there's separate CDL physical
Most family doctors won't do it because there's no money in it, and you gotta be state certified and take the state tests, and doctors make more money seeing regular patients than doing CDL physicals. The one that we're seeing now is a ways away, and his pool's growing because the word's out that he's a decent dock guy. A decent guy to deal with. So there's a lot of people traveling to go to him because there's a time and place when you need something and when you don't. So, I mean, it's your guys' discretion. It's not uncommon to get 2 in a year. I mean, if you want to put a cap on it, that's up to you. I would recommend at least maybe 2 a year per person. I got some that's on a 1 year, and if they happen to get a 6-month, or if they get a 3-month ding, I understand you don't want to cover a guy to go in every 3 months. But I know it's also burdensome on them as well. I mean, you can go in there and be perfectly fine, and your anxiety gets up. So when your anxiety gets up, your blood pressure's up. You know how that works. And you can pull up your my chart and say, look, every time I've been at my family dock, it's been normal. But since I'm here, it's high, but it don't matter. It's got to be down. It's a hassle, guys. I'm just being honest. So.
I'd like to get some more information. See what some of the options.
He's not asking. I'm asking because I have 2 claims that I need to reimburse an employee for that we've already done this year.
What's our,
I sent it to you. Our current policy, it just says that they would reimburse highway employees for their CDL physicals up to $109 with proper documentation. So I was clarifying if that was up to 109, no matter how many physicals they had to have, or just 1 per year.
You're asking for, if they have a 3-month or a 6-month, so they would have at least 2 or 4 per year.
So the most we've ever seen is 2, and this year, we just happen to have 2 right in a row, 2 different employees right in a row that got the shorter one, so they're having their 2nd physical now and submitted for reimbursement.
I would be okay with no more than 4. Way it would cover the 3-month. I would hate to have an employee that's, especially a good employee, not be able to work because of this.
Right.
But, and if they have to do the sleep study, I guess that's.
Right.
Right, and they have paid that. You know, I got an employee now that's on one, and he told me that his doctor would release him if he didn't have a CDL. That once you're issued that, they will not take you off of it. And I don't agree with that either. I mean, a person's health can change and get better. I don't know.
Sure.
There's also other things that can be done instead of the CPAP machine. There's other options sometimes, like a mouth guard to move the tongue back and forth, and I don't know how much you guys know about that, but there's a few other things.
There's things coming out, yeah, there is. But that all goes back to that doctor and that sleep study and.
But either way, that part of it is on the
Okay, so
employee
this is just the
themselves.
doctor exam.
It's literally just the physical, whether we reimburse for more than 1.
I would say pay those 2 claims, and we revisit this next meeting, clarify it up. That's what I would do. That'd be my motion. Yep.
Second. Question, members? Anyone in the audience? Hearing no one, signify by saying yes if you're approved.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed? Motion carries.
You said there's 3 months, 6 months.
Typically.
I don't want to lose an employee that's been out there for a long time and have the CDL problem, because it's hard to get people with
If we did at
CDLs.
least 2 a year, I think. Sometimes they get dinged and it's not, they didn't even know it was coming. So, and there again, it's the doctor's discretion.
And Ben's absolutely correct. Family doctors don't even touch. They don't want to get certified. They're becoming fewer and farther between. Get CDL license or physicals, not the license, but the physical that you
Yeah, that's required by law. I get a letter from the BMV the month I'm due, and if I don't have it in by that date,
Sounds like it's creating a little bit of a bottleneck, not enough doctors, but the demand is still high, so.
they're doing stuff different now too. They got it, where we gotta go in and do queries on our drivers for network. So they used to go, when you go in for your CDL physical, they would give you your whole physical back. They don't do that anymore. It all gets electronically uploaded to the BMV from them, and then all we get is the receipt and then the little medical cert back paper of it.
Saying okay or not?
Basically, you used to have to carry that with you. You don't no more because it's all electronic in the computers. If the cop pulls you over, it's all on there. Because there used to be guys that would go from, say, you're a doc, I'd go to your physical. You'd want me to sleep study or say my blood pressure is too high, then I'd go to Jim. I'd just leave there and go right over to Jim, and Jim would pass me. Because that's what I said, it's a total doctor discretion. Some's harder than others. Well then, now that's all getting uploaded into the system. Can't do that no more.
Yeah.
So the ways around things is becoming obsolete. So the other thing I had, the permits for the highway, we moved any further with that. The fees, and then also I didn't know how Andrew was doing on the ordinances.
Yes.
I've received some emails with some comparables for state roads. Most of them's one trip. Prices is all over the place on it. So I don't know if you guys done any research or gotten any feedback.
Well, all I know is all grain to Bluffton is $43.95 per trip to go down 69. We're doing it about 100 times a year.
I understand.
I let my paralegal know that I would like to meet with you and her and I and just kind of go through it.
That'd be fine.
Because she's got some prepared, I believe, but there's just enough moving pieces that it would be helpful to have your brain in on it,
Great.
making sure we got it all set up before we bring it to the commission.
Nope, that'd be great.
That's where we are. So we're in process on it.
I can send you guys a few of them emails I've received, but the state permits, let you glance at them. I've reached out to some other counties. A lot of them's not charging yet. And actually, I've had 3 counties reach out to me and want the permits that I've drafted because they want to do them themselves. So I guess if I get any more, I will look at the fees and I'll try to summarize them or send them to you. Then we're going to have to either keep what we have or amend it, change it for the one on SDI road. Seems to be the only one I've gotten concerned about people. And then the last thing I got is just I sent you guys an email last week that DeKalb County was awarded the CCMG on this last call for the $1 million. I heard from Mayor Hartman and Butler that he was at a mayor's conference and said a lot of the communities he heard didn't receive any or all of it. And I heard that from a couple of our consultants that a lot of communities didn't receive funds. So that's good. I mean, we received the whole $1 million, so that's great. We got that. So
The Indiana Commissioners Conference, SB1 was obviously a big discussion, and there were several counties, at least 3 or 4, that said they got 0. Be ticked is kind of an understatement. Very, very unhappy. So I wasn't about to tell him.
Right, right. Well, like I said, I'm thankful we got it, and,
You and me both.
it helps us with our infrastructure and,
Yep.
and moving forward. So there's another $1.3 million project coming to DeKalb County next year through Community Crossings. So, I'm working on the bid docs with that, so we'll be having that up to see you soon. So, and then just remember, Susan, the next meeting, we'll have our bid opening for our annual bids. Okay. So I believe that's all I have for you guys today.
I have one thing.
Oh, go ahead, you can do yours?
They need to acknowledge receipt of this.
Bond from,
Do they acknowledge receipt or approve it?
either, I would probably just have them accept it.
Accept it. So we have the maintenance bond for Bear Creek,
Section 10.
section 10, that you guys need to accept with a motion.
So moved.
Second. Floor to accept the bond as presented. Any discussion, members? Discussion from anyone in the public? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
If I can bring up my thing for Ben, it's the Frontier. This is a claim that Frontier is making for $11,827.54 for a cable they say we cut, but we didn't cut. This is from months and months ago. They reached out again about that to me, like months later. They claimed they had emailed me in October, but I don't recall getting the email. So they emailed it to me. I think my discussion I had with Ben was that it just wasn't our fault. That you had evidence from your guys they could swear to under oath that they don't believe they cut it. It doesn't look like they cut it. It was an older cut or something like that. So, so based upon that, I would, we can either turn it into our insurance company at this point, potentially. I don't know that we did that before, or we can't, because we hadn't done it, and we told them, I think we let them know that we didn't accept this as a claim. You would let them know at least. So this was months
one of us
ago,
did.
or I might have, yeah. So at this point, they're pushing it forward, which may or may not mean that they're gonna file some sort of a suit on it. I don't know. Maybe now is the time to turn it into our insurance company. I can certainly say the county still has the same position as we had before, saying we're denying the claim. Do you have any thoughts on it, Ben?
No, I would have to look through my notes to refresh my memory a little bit, but
I felt like we were justified in saying it wasn't our fault.
I know I went through it with you, whatever one it is.
So,
If we was at fault and I felt we was at fault, I would have told Andrew that when we did it.
would you guys be okay if I just turned that into our insurance company at this point? I mean, I don't know. It's under our, I guess it's under our deductible, which is 25,000. This is 11,827.54.
Guess if it's under our deductible, I don't know if they'll do anything or not.
I don't know if they do anything or not. And the attorney fees could start to, oh, I don't know, or we could, I don't know.
Take a break.
Okay.
It's 10 o'clock, we need to take our break.
Yep, we're ready.
Okay. We're back in session. Have Kyle coming in at 10:45, correct?
Yeah.
Have a little bit of time. Yeah. We'll do the payroll bi-weekly. We'll second that. Any discussion?
My
Hearing,
discussion is, I talked to Bill Hartman, he was okay with it too.
hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Next, we have claims. Do you have any issues with claims?
I have no concerns with claims. I asked Bill before he left, he had no issues with claims either.
Is that a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second a motion. I do have a question.
Okay.
And it's just for learning knowledge for myself. The highway bond as the, under auditor 50069, says sinking fund. What does sinking fund mean?
That is, so I'm trying, let me think about this a minute. That is the one that is backed up and paid by lit dollars, which comes from your guys' lighted fund. So each month when we receive our lighted distribution, then we move 1/6 of the bond payment from Fund 1112, which is your guys' lighted, into that fund so that we can make the payment out of there. So by the time the June lit money comes in and that 6th payment gets moved over, then that fund has exactly what needs to be sent to pay the bond. And then it starts over for the next 6 months.
Thank you.
But I didn't exactly know what a sinking fund was. I thought it was something special.
No, thank you.
You're welcome.
Having a motion and a second to accept the claims as presented. Any other discussion? Anyone in the audience? Hearing no one. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next, we have the minutes. Is there any discussion or questions about minutes? Hearing none, is there a motion to accept minutes?
So moved.
I would second that motion. Is there any discussion from audience? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Minutes passes. No opposition. The Vidal federal lawsuit.
So moved.
That motion. Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Elevator maintenance agreement, it was tabled from the last meeting. We want to table that again.
I did talk to Bill before he left. He would want to know if we could get Otis to agree to a one-year contract. That's something we could do. Andrew, did you, I mean, we talked about it last meeting. I don't know if we ever did anything else with it or.
No, because you guys told us you were tabling it and we're gonna.
So for the, you wanted me to see if Otis would do a one-year
Jail.
Jail,
For the jail.
for the jail.
Do you want it 1 year or do you want it, cause that, I'm trying to think, the invoice that I paid, I think it said it was good through like August 26th or something. Do you want it to go? Or what the invoice, that invoice I paid, let me see if I can find it.
Still think it's, correct me if I'm wrong. It was still one.
That's because as we move forward with the plans for the new jail, locked in, we don't want to be locked into a long-term with the,
But the invoice specifically had a date range on it. So it would be nice if they could match those ranges instead of having a contract. It's confusing how they do it because their dates, like, they had that invoice that I had to pay because it said that it was good, but then they came back and said we didn't even have an agreement.
they did have
Was
the
it-
fire.
With the fire? Yes.
So their invoice says maintenance service from 9/1/2025 to 8/31/2026. So
You're still on a contract with them until then.
we don't have a contract with them.
But it's the maintenance. So we paid for it, I mean.
Why don't I just confirm with
You can,
Otis that
yeah.
they consider it one
Yep.
year deal?
Renew.
But we're gonna get it so that whatever contract ends the same time that their invoice says it ends.
Yes.
I'll just try to confirm that with them.
9/1. For 1 year. Tabled. Andrew gets back with us. HPS grant submission.
That was the email from Michelle Fosna. She has the ability to submit a grant, let me think, for a small grant to do, she would like to do a purchase of a new field radio that would connect with dispatch for DCC staff to use during field contacts. So we just need to do a formal approval of her submitting that.
So moved.
Second?
The only question I had is, does it commit the county to spending any money that's not appropriated yet? Or is that just a grant and they get to spend it, so to speak?
It would be a grant, and then we
We have to
still would
match it
have
or something?
to, I don't think so, but we would have.
That was my question, whether it had a match. 'cause
No, but we still have to appropriate this money whenever it comes.
But it's not new tax dollars going forward, was my question.
It has nothing to do, no tax dollars whatsoever.
Okay, that was my only question when I read it over.
We have a motion. Accept it.
Moved.
Motion and a second to allow Michelle to move forward with the HPS grant submission as presented. Is there any other discussion or questions from commissioners? One from the audience? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The CDL physical reimbursements we've already covered. Catalyst value pay system.
1 second.
Sure.
Andrew, did you ever, that Alistar, did he ever contact you back?
Think-
So we have, the surveyor's office is wanting to be able to accept credit cards.
No, I left a voicemail for Alistair and did not get any calls back, but that was Friday, I guess.
So it is through Value Pay Systems, and we have a submitter merchant processing, payment processing agreement that needs approved. They are also explaining or telling us that we have to approve a catalyst company that I'm trying to figure out why we need both, because I haven't had that in other departments. But let me find my email, because I asked Joni if she would look at it for me, and she explained. She believes that Catalyst would be the online payment service provider to the county. Then Catalyst creates and maintains the online payment site, then uses Value Pay behind the scenes to actually process the payment. So I had reached out to their people, then they tried to get a hold of me last week when I didn't have a voice, I couldn't talk to them. And so I had Andrew leave them a message, contact them. I would like you guys to approve these, and maybe on the Catalyst one, we could approve it contingent on Andrew's discussion with their Catalyst representative.
And we're trying to look to make sure that we're not being like double charged? Is that kind of our concern, or we may not know enough to know, I guess.
Right, I'm just not sure. This document here, the Value Pay, that actually says Value Payment Systems in it, World Pay, also
Okay, that's the one
Join
that
Value Pay. So this is the only type of document that I have, like, say, for development services. I don't have a
Why is
Catalyst.
so the question is, why is
So-
Catalyst required?
They're connected somehow, I'm just not sure how. But we also need to get it up and running for the surveyor's office.
So which one does the rest of it?
I don't know. The treasurer used to use Value Pay. They don't use them any longer. I don't know what the clerk's office uses. I asked Community corrections, they use Value Pay. She told me that Catalyst is who provides the point of sale handheld units for Value Pay. But she couldn't find any of their contracts and agreements either. So I didn't have anything to go off by there. So we need to approve both. And this is the one, I think you had reviewed this one. This was the, you did. You've done the Value Pay one multiple times.
One is actually just collecting the funds, and the other one is actually doing the bookkeeping. Simple way of putting it.
From what I understand so far, yes.
Or it could be like one is the machine that you're renting and one is service to handle the money. You think Catalyst is probably for the machine.
I mean, they're gonna need to get something here. Their fees will start,
They already started.
yeah, they already started, so. How long is the term for it again? A year?
Well, it was 3 to 5, because this proposed contract that we're looking at, Talis had for 5 parentheses, 3 years.
So Value Pay says this agreement shall continue in effect until the earlier of a termination or expiration of your VPS customer agreement or a period of 1 year after the date on which your first draft is presented to the bank following acceptance of this agreement. Such term will automatically remove for 1 year period.
So basically a 1.
The other one is a 3 to 5 year.
Well, on this particular document, it says both 3 and 5 years, so it doesn't really say. I didn't know if they should probably do some sort of a amended agreement.
Probably do a motion to accept both contracts with the having Cruz do an amended agreement for a 1-year contract.
Just a 1 year for the,
Oh, that way they're
Catalyst.
both on the same page. I don't like,
that makes a lot of
myself, I
sense. to
don't
have
like
both.
having 2 different dates trying to remember.
So you would
I'd
approve
look
it,
to see.
subject to it being a 1 year, and we can see if Catalyst would do a 1 year.
Is that acceptable?
Yeah, I agree, because I don't wanna have, if we decide to go a different, pay system, they use different machines, then we're paying for 2 different machines.
Mm-hmm. Are you moving what he suggested someone could move?
I'm just seconding your motion.
Okay, so Jim moved it. All right,
Yeah.
Jim moved it.
I made the motion.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Is there any other discussion among commissioners? Anyone from the audience? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And I'll reach out to Alice, Sarah, I guess, on making it a 1 year for Catalyst and confirming why we need it.
I believe that covers all of the
I see that again.
discussion and action topics and items. Do you have anything more?
Yeah, 1 second. These are what, this is what The only thing I had, because we are tabling the meeting calendar, is we have received all of the drug-free DeKalb grant contracts. So last meeting, you approved them to be offered, and now they come back and they send back the contract and the MOUs that they have to do. So now we have to approve for you to sign the contracts between the entity and DeKalb County.
Motion and pass for,
To approve commissioner's signature on the DeKalb County Drug-Free Grant Recipient Contract with DeKalb County Commissioners.
So moved.
second. Or to accept pay, or I'm not pay, excuse me, not to pay, to have signatures on the
Drug-Free DeKalb.
contract as presented.
Yep.
Is there any discussion among commissioners?
So Kellen moved it, did you second it?
Yes.
Okay.
Anyone from the audience? Hearing no one, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay. That is all that, yeah, you can move on to Kyle.
Here's, all set, sir. Morning.
Morning.
Okay. Thank you. He had to leave early.
I can't, it's up to you guys how you take it from here. Caramels. I think these are part of the first Christmas one. They are very good.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Take her away.
Good morning. Thanks for having me in this morning to talk about the work comp renewal. All right. We've got a great renewal here from IPEP. We were expecting it. Wasn't surprised. We knew it was going to be a positive renewal, but it's also fun to come in and, share what you guys are doing that's really helping as a county, and then also how IPEP's helped and Dottie and Morgan have helped, and kind of talk through it. Obviously, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them, but we can start to dive in here. We've had a situation in the county where the work comp has been less profitable for the carrier going back 3 and 4 years. And we've talked a lot about the experience mod and how that affects pricing. It's a calculation that's done by the state, by NCCI. And that either drives up costs because we've had a lot of claims, or it can drive down costs if we don't have a lot of claims and we're more favorable on claims experience. And so we're seeing a downtick on the experience mod right now that's going to continue this year and then into next year, which is positive. And we can kind of talk through all the specifics of what drives that, answer any questions you guys have, and kind of go from there, okay? If you look at that first page, kind of the loss trends, this is, the losses, like we said, are what drives the experience mod and a big calculation of the pricing. This current 2025 year, we've got 29,000 in claims, which is a really positive year. We've got 14 total claims if you go down to the middle of that page. So we've got a 15% loss ratio for the current year in 14 claims. Claims can look two different ways. You can look at frequency, how many claims we have, and then severity. You could have only 3 claims, but if you have a huge one, it can have a negative impact, right, on loss ratio. We're seeing a downtick not only on our large claims, but also just claims frequency as well. You go back and look year by year, we average upper 20s for claims per year. And so far this year, we have 14. So we're almost cut in half of what the claim situation is. We've been coming out of COVID, we had disbanded the safety committee, and statistics have shown, not just for public entities like yourself, but manufacturing, contractors, there was a shift off of safety coming out of COVID because people couldn't meet effectively. And there was a large rise in claims that came out of it for the industry. Now, safety's been a much bigger topic for everybody, you guys included. And Dottie and Morgan have done a great job getting the supervisors bought into coming to every meeting. Jim, you were there for a meeting, kind of witnessed how that works. And getting those supervisors to understand how it works and why their role in claims is so important, of getting people back to work or understanding the process, has just been really big, and we've built on a couple good years here in a row. You can see back in 20 and to 21, 21, 22, we had some larger claims that negatively impacted us, and it made our experience mod go through the roof, up to a 1.28 in 2024. And the way that calculation works and why there's 3 grayed out rows there is the experience mod calculation goes back 3 years, not including your current policy year, and that's what they calculated off of. So those shaded boxes are what the current 0.86 experience mod is calculated off of. It goes into that. You can see the prior years, it was a much higher rate or much higher calculation, and you can see that the prior years, the loss ratio and claims are much higher. That's kind of the general calculus of how that works. Pretty straightforward. So we've got...
More important to the amount of claims or the total incurred?
Total incurred is going to be the most important. Okay. Frequency of claims, underwriters generally believe that frequency can lead to severity. If you've got 5 close calls, the likelihood of that 6th one being a larger one is kind of how statistics play out. So if you can have low frequency and low severity, that's the best of both worlds, and where we're finding ourselves currently.
How does report-only situations affect?
Yeah, so those are included in the claims as well. And one other thing that Dottie's team has done such a good job on is they've gotten information that's accurate. It's got supervisors' input on it, what actually happened. So we have documentation that if 6 months from now that claim goes sideways for whatever reason, we at least have clean documentation of what happened and why, and what were our next steps as an incident report. It's really hard in a work comp claim that could come back and pop up a year later if you don't have good information, what happened and why, and be able to effectively handle it. So Dottie's team has really done a nice job making sure that's there. And then what Andrew's also alluding to is we have, even if there's a small incident where it's a scrape or they're not really seeing medical attention, we're still going through the whole process of reporting a claim to IPEP so that we have the documentation. And Dottie's team's still doing an incident report so that, once again, if it blows up later and becomes a thing, or just we're looking for trends along the way, they're getting buy-in from the supervisors to make sure that the documentation's there. So I want to say that we had 7 report-only claims in this 2025 year. So really, we only had roughly 7 or 8 actual work comp claims that received medical attention.
The reason I ask is last year we had 29 claims, but only a little under 20,000. This year we had 14 with 30,000, a little under 30,000. So I didn't know what number they cared more about. So
yeah, no, good question. They care about both in theory, but they care more about the incurred loss. Those big losses make a difference. So, and then you can see I put some historical data down there below, going back all the way to 21, just so you can see we kind of rode the elevator up in that experience mod. So that 1.28, the easiest way to think about it is, if our work comp premium is supposed to be 200,000 for sake of, 100,000 for sake of round numbers, it just became 128,000 because of that calculation. If it's 100,000, it's a 0.86, it just became 86,000. So it can swing it either direction pretty fast. Okay. The next page is our mod snapshot. Breaks down, you can actually see our largest losses we've had that factor into this and then what their impact is in the mod in that middle left. So you can see most of our claims that have been small, they don't even contribute to 0.1 on the experience mod. Some of those larger claims, like that $40,000 loss, contributed to 0.1162, so it's a much bigger factor into the experience mod. The other thing we've stressed a lot with the supervisors is if it's a medical only claim, let's say it's a $20,000 medical only claim, and there's no paid time off or indemnity that comes from it, which is a work comp word for paid time off or a settlement, only 30% of that claim goes against your experience mod. So you can have some claims, but if we get them to treatment and get them back to work in a reasonable manner and they're ready to come back to work, we can effectively manage that. It's your larger claims where the people have paid time off that can, lead to a higher premium and higher experience mod. And the supervisors have really, we talk about it every single safety meeting. I think we've kind of beat the dead horse at some level for a few years, but I think it's got into their brains of how this thing works. And like I said, we've got some pretty good buy-in from them. You see those green bars on the right. So if we never had a claim in the county for the prior 3 years that go into this factor, we could have a 0.58 experience mod. That's as low as we could go. Our claims have contributed to 0.28 of that experience mod, coming up at 0.86. It's kind of how the calculation works. Okay?
So you're basically saying you can't get much better than.
Well, we could go 28 points better, which is still significant, but we know that with a county this size and as many employees there are, and especially the police, you're going to have claims. It's just effectively managing the claims in a proper way that helps drive it down. And Dottie's team's done a great job. We've got really good support within insurance trustees that helps. Susan Korchik is the account manager and does a great job internally. I know many of you have spoken with her a lot. And then IPEP is a wonderful carrier partner. I mean, they want to reduce claims as well, but they also want to do it in effective ways. And they have claims managers or claims liaisons for any of these larger claims where they're going to work with that doctor, that injured worker, and try to come to the best resolution possible for that claim. And they jump in right from the jump. Any questions on that front? Not a ton to report because there hasn't been a ton of claims, so that's positive. Work comp is not an overly complicated premium. It's honestly the easiest coverage line to kind of come up with premium. You have payroll in various class codes, and then you have your higher likelihood of having injuries. Those class codes have higher rates. So a clerical class code might be really cheap, but the police officers are more expensive because they're more likely to have claims. So their payroll is at a different rate than others. I'm not sure what that, I think we were up about 5 or 6% in total payroll, and it's not always uniform on where it's slotted from police to whoever. But our payrolls are up, and you'll see that our premium is going to go down actually year over year, which is a huge win for the county.
The attorney line item for payroll says 1.799 million. I don't think I've grossed that this year yet.
It must be a big bonus at the end.
Yeah, so does that cover other things other than attorneys?
Yeah, these
All like
Or it could be prosecutors and
Yes,
public
exactly.
defenders and
prosecuting
everything.
attorneys,
All
public
right.
defenders.
So it's not county attorney at 1.7.
Yeah, well, good
That's
to
not
see you
Andrew.
call
I
out,
was
but,
like-
All the attorneys that work for us.
All right, fair enough.
What's the retirement living center?
Sunny Meadows.
That's Sunny Meadows. Yeah. So any questions on any of that front? Once again, pretty straightforward stuff. Just want to make sure everyone's on the same page of how it's kind of the calculation works and who we're working with in IPEP.
So we'll go back to the.
Yeah, go ahead.
We have 100,000 out there as a guesstimate. If we don't need that for next year, does that come off and we get the reimbursement back on that?
Yeah, work comp is always a projection. So we're going to project these numbers, and at the end of the year, they're going to do an audit which they do every year. And at the end of the year, that you're gonna get credit if that doesn't come to fruition.
This used to be, they used to estimate this like big and then always get a refund. And probably over the last 5 or 6 years that I've been doing it, I've estimated it relatively close to what I think it's going to be. And then sometimes, like the last audit came back and then I just had to pay. But that way we're not overpaying a ton and then waiting for the audit. I mean, it's not off a lot, but we get it close.
Yeah, it's normally within like 3 to 4%. Susan does a great job on that front. And surprises, I mean, it's nice to get a chunk of money back at the end of the year at some level, but being accurate like she is just helps so there's no surprises either way at audit time.
It's a good idea, because that way we have that money, we can get investment off of it, so that being sitting in you guys' bank account.
Yeah,
Agree with that.
yeah. Anything on that front as far as the audit process, Susan, that I know it's a pretty straightforward process that we could be doing to help you in addition to what we're doing now? Okay. Well, if something comes up or, you know, sometimes it's a different auditor each year, so if they ask questions that are different than before, or it feels like you're not getting the answers, don't hesitate to loop us in. We'll definitely jump in. So we've got this with IPEP, like we've talked about. They are the industry standard as far as insuring counties, cities, any municipality in Indiana. I was speaking with one of their higher-ups last week, and they write about 70% of counties in the state of Indiana. So if you think about that, there's quite a few counties that probably don't have a good loss ratio, and his message was essentially, if there's a county that we want to insure, right, that doesn't have a lot of bad claim situations or poor reporting, you know, they essentially insure it, and they are the best at that coverage line in the state of Indiana. We've looked at a handful of carriers in the past, a couple, Argent and Bitco namely. Anytime we've brought in outside carriers, which we've done the past 2 years, they've been almost $100,000 higher in premium than what IPEP has. So the reason for me that I think that's so valuable is we actually had some bad years with IPEP, and we didn't see we weren't penalized in a negative way because of it. They want to be a long-term partner, and they understand that some years are going to be better than others, but we have some stability with them to where if you switched carriers, you're not going to pay $100,000 more to switch carriers, right? But even if you did find one that was as competitive, you're potentially going to ride that volatility wave if they have a first bad year. So we're in a really good spot with them. A couple things to note there. You can see, you know, we're paying well over $200,000 in 24, 25, and our payroll was $15,900,000. So as our exposures have gone up, which is how they rate the work comp, our premium has gone down significantly, and that's largely because of the relationship with IPEP, and then also that experience mod is really working in our favor. We've got, let's see, our current year, like we said, it's 29,000 in losses. If you go back to it says DeKalb County loss trends. So as we project forward, you know, next year, this 25-26 year will come onto that 3-year calculation, and that 22-23 year is going to fall off. That's how it works, just a rolling cycle. So we're going to have a year that falls off that's actually worse than our year that's coming on. So even though our experience mod's greatly improved, it's even going to get better next year. Not a ton, because we've already kind of bottomed out at some level, but it's going to improve next year as well. We've got some positive momentum going forward. Any questions on any of that? I know I kind of covered a lot of calculus, if you will, but this one is more, you know, data-driven than some other lines. It's just kind of how it works.
Just out of curiosity, 21 or 21, 22, those huge claims, were those traffic accidents or?
No, they both came from police. One of them was a training exercise where an individual, I believe, was throwing a ball to a dog, police dog, and tore his rotator cuff, and it turned into multiple surgeries, I believe. And then also, we had a disability payout because he was not back to full strength even after the surgeries. So, some element of bad luck there, but, you know, that's why there's workers' comp insurance as well.
Both years were the same.
I don't believe,
I know he did cross years, quite a few years, actually. Trying to think what the other one was. There was a hand in a door. Most of them are all shared.
yeah, and I don't think so, that the 2021 was the large rotator cuff claim.
Yeah.
In 21, 22, I don't believe it was a singular claim. I think we just had 6 or 7 claims that were $20,000 to $30,000 that just add up. You know, when I see the incident reports that come through, and then I see how IPEP would categorize or label the claims, there's just a lot of times where it says something to the extent of inmate was not answering or not following what they're supposed to do, became aggressive, and the police have to step in, and then we have a claim because of it. You know, just the kind of nature of the beast at some level.
In certain extreme circumstances, it's like a wrestling deal, and, you know, you might be falling against a picnic table or hitting the wall or something.
Yeah, right. So you know, the sheriff's department's done a great job with the claims. They've taken it very seriously and take the incident reports seriously. You know, at the end of the day, a huge exposure could be just if a car accident happens and they're driving for the county, could be a large claim that comes from that. Those are the things you can't stop at some level. They can just happen. We've just been fortunate the last handful of years that we haven't had a large auto claim or something that's negatively impacted us.
Do you believe part of that's the communication, Dottie and her group getting information out?
Yeah, I do. I mean, so Dottie does a really nice job monthly of sending out safety newsletters, and, you know, I think if you just do that once or twice or intermittently, people kind of just, it slips through the cracks and they don't really see them. They can maybe roll their eyes at that some level. I think her consistent messaging for 3 to 4 years now is paying dividends, and people actually see that and read it. And, you know, like a large claim could happen tomorrow that's out of our control, but I just don't think there's a coincidence that we started doing that 3 to 4 years ago really effectively, and the claims have taken a huge step in the right direction for improvement.
Great to see.
Yeah. Yeah, we for a few years there, we were paying for, you know, the hardest part for this, and where I really, once again, give her kudos, is sometimes it's hard when you're paying for years past and you're investing in safety and costs still go up because you're paying for the years past. That can be discouraging at some level. But now we finally got to the point where the costs are dropping with it, and now it feels, you know, like you can just really point to something that's been helpful for the county.
So it's like DeKalb County, obviously we've gotten much, much better, but are we consistent with other counties?
So, great question. The way the calculation is made is a 1.0. You are viewed in this calculation with other peers, so other counties, municipalities, and then they take whatever payroll that you pay in and your claims payout, and they have a calculation that comes up with that experience mod. They do it so that a 1.0 experience mod is technically average. So for those 3 or 4 years, we were below average because of some of our large claims in terms of other counties and our peers. Right, but now we're outpacing them in that benchmark, and we're keeping people safe. We have the proper documentation, and then at the end, they were paying less premium because of it. Yep. Okay.
So, just for people listening, so in 24 to 25, the IPEP amount was $204,255. For the 2025 to 2026, it was $193,103. And the renewal for 26 into 27, is 170, 194. They're right here.
It's on that last page at the top.
Thank you.
Yep, so the thing to note there is, as payrolls and exposures have gone up, costs have gone down significantly. So if you have that delta, it's over 30%, I believe, the difference there in the last 3 years in savings provided as we've gotten payroll going up. And yeah, and like I said, well, next year, the hard work's done for next year at some level, because those loss ratios are gonna be finalized here in a few weeks. So we'll have another positive renewal next year. It's gonna be 26 that's gonna determine 2 years from now. We're just always having that, as our mindset of trying to be safe and do the best we can. As long as we're doing our job correctly, Dottie's doing her job, and IPEP does their job as a partner, I'm not saying we can't hold these rates where they are, but we won't have any surprises at the same time. We'll be able to know ahead of time what's coming and plan for it accordingly.
I don't. I'm happy with what they're doing there, and I like the fact that they report the claims initially, or report, like, report only or whatever, where someone doesn't have the further issues, because you don't know from this, from an employee standpoint, if something does get to be worse with let's say, throwing the ball. You may think, well, it's a little sore, and then it gets worse and worse, and by reporting it, it's actually good for the county employees too. So this is good for the county bottom line, but also good for individual employees, the way they're being treated here. So I like that.
And in the way that work comp works, it's the state controls, there's a work comp board for the state of Indiana. And overwhelmingly, the burden of proof is on the employer to have good documentation if an employee says something went sideways or they got injured. And the statute of limitations is 2 years for that. So having good 2 years is a long time, right? And things get gray or foggy on remembering that. So being able to pull a file if something pops up 18 months from now is really helpful for you guys and for us to help, effectively handle that claim.
Yep.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, no, thank you.
We just need a motion to approve the renewal.
So moved.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any questions or discussions from commissioners? Anyone in the audience? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, thank you. Merry Christmas to you guys.
Well, thank you,
again.
sir, and
Yep.
you as well. Appreciate your time. Andrew, go ahead. Okay.
I have a bunch of signatures. You don't have above your name.
Appreciate your help.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
See that. Yep, if you're ready.
DeKalb.
Welcome, America. Pleasure as always. Absolutely.
Is your, I'm sorry, is your light on that? Okay,
Sorry.
that's all right.
Should I start over?
No, that's all right.
Yes, start over? Okay. My name's Erica Hedge. I'm the Animal Control Officer for DeKalb County, and I have approximately 8 years prior experience as an animal control officer before coming to this county. I'm also a registered veterinary technician, and I'd like to talk to you guys today about a call that I had last week with a large colony of cats. And I made contact with the residents and talked to them about the benefits of spaying and neutering so that the cats would quit reproducing. They agreed to participate in the process, and so the next day I went back with another rescue to help them capture the cats for spay neuter. And during the process, one of the residents was helping us catch the cats, and there was a door open into the property. We were able to see the inside of the house was filled with trash and a significant amount of fecal matter. There were 6 dogs inside the residence. Ultimately, we ended up obtaining a search warrant to go inside and remove the dogs for their safety. Ultimately, in the pictures, you'll see that the dogs, well, you won't see it in the pictures, but the dogs were zip tied in those crates. And so there was many, probably months worth of fecal matter that the dogs were trapped in. They did not have food or water. There were mice visibly running around the property. I had to wear a respirator to enter the property safely. There's also a bedroom that a dog was confined in where there's about 4 foot high of jugs of what appeared to be urine. So we removed those animals. We also removed 48 cats, 2 pigs, and 2 goats. Those all went to one rescue. Another rescue from Ohio came and took 6 roosters, 5 hens, 20 ducks, 1 guinea, 2 turkeys, and another pig.
I'm trying to write this down. You're going,
Okay.
How many roosters were there again?
There were 6 roosters
6 roosters.
and 5 hens,
5 hens.
20 ducks, 1 guinea, 2 turkeys, and a pig.
Oh,
And that's,
There was 2 pigs, so there's 3
that's
pigs
the
total.
rescue, the Ohio rescue. There were 3 pigs total.
3 pigs total.
The local rescue took 6 dogs, 48 cats, 2 pigs, and 2 goats.
are you familiar with Max Cavies out of Allen County? They're a guinea pig rescue.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure you're aware of them.
Yep.
Okay.
So I'm coming here today because I've been utilizing multiple rescue agencies in DeKalb County and beyond. 2 of the dogs from this case went to Humane Fort Wayne. DeKalb Humane is full, largely in part because of other cases that I've removed recently. Canine Haven Rescue Inc. has been helping me. They also are full. The only rescue that had space was Chattaroba Horse Rescue, so they took all 48 cats and 6 dogs, 2 pigs, and 2 goats. And so it is an abnormally large amount of animals for them. to impound. So I'd like to request some funding for them to give them some assistance in caring for these animals.
How much funding are they asking for?
I was thinking, I wasn't really sure what, it's $50 a cat to do the spay neuter surgery, a rabies vaccine, a microchip. And it's approximately $100 per dog to do a spay neuter surgery. The goats are both female, they don't need altered. I'm not sure about the pigs. So I was thinking $50 a cat and $100 a dog. That's okay. But 2 dogs went to, and also, I'm sorry, one of the dogs had to be euthanized, the one
Picture one you showed.
hound dog in the picture. He was in too poor of a state.
Looking at 48 cats for $50 a piece, which is $2,400. And then how many dogs at 100 a piece?
There are 3 dogs.
3 dogs to be.
Yep. 2 were transferred to Humane Fort Wayne, and they're incurring that cost, and they're okay with that. And the rescue that took the other livestock type animals to Ohio, they're okay with incurring that cost as well. So it's just the 3 dogs that are still with Shadow Robot and the 48 cats. Correct.
So this is for Courtney's, is that?
This is for, it's called Shadow Robot Horse Rescue. They
Oh, okay.
They typically do horses and other livestock animals, but when resources are stretched, then they will help with dogs and cats.
I'm hesitating because yes, you do. However, depending when all this happens, I mean, we're at December 8th, so the invoice might not even get paid until next year, and we'll be in a different budget anyways. So,
They would still have the same flexibility next year.
yeah, we could make it work.
We have to decide if we want to do it first. We don't have to do anything with the pigs, the goats, the rooster, the hens, the ducks, the guinea pigs, and the turkey?
Nope.
Okay, just want to clarify. Everybody that's watching, just going to deal with the dogs and cats here.
This becomes a health issue for the residents of the home too, doesn't it?
Correct. And I believe that the local health department has asked for this case to be seen before you as well.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything come through yet unless they emailed me this morning or
Okay.
something. But it could be, it certainly could be.
Definitely, there was a significant amount of mouse waste and a lot of mice in the property. And there's no running water. So. That is possible. Yes, it is it's a criminal case.
The restitution within that case is possible. However, if whoever did it is, for example, on disability, they may be judgment proof.
If we would pass request, goes to court.
It could be that there could be court-ordered restitution, theoretically, through a criminal case. So a repayment could come. No guarantee, but it's possible.
The residents of the home are.
Pardon me?
The residents at the property are financially struggle, and a lot of time in prior cases they will sometimes set them up on a payment plan as low as $10 a month, $20 a month, which would be a slow recouping process for the rescue.
There's federal case law, I believe, from the U.S. Supreme Court that, correct me if I'm wrong here, but that would say that if someone is totally unable to pay, they can't make that They can't make them pay, for example, $100 a month when they don't have that in their budget as part of their criminal case. It has to be a reasonable payment. There's a financial, they could order it at the beginning, but let's say, who knows if there's jail time or not, but let's say there's some sort of jail time or not. Whenever the payments have to start, there's a requirement that the court has to go through and do a financial analysis to see if they can pay it. So,
Further analysis.
yeah, we might get an order, but not very much money.
And I'll also add too, we have a local veterinarian who is really passionate about helping us on these cases. And we're trying to schedule with her, like bulk surgeries, and that may help with some of the cost.
Okay with it. It's, yeah, Noah's doing an excellent job of helping us out in this situation. They're not really required to take that many cats and that many dogs to help them out with that. Yeah. So, I'm okay with the, allocating $2,700 for the, spade and neutering of the 48 cats and of the 3 dogs, correct? Make sure my notes are correct here. That'll be my motion. Yep.
I'm fine with it if you have it in your budget to be able to do. I think it's a good thing.
Since we have an issue,
Yes.
cat population, thing we can do to remedy.
And it sounds like it's very helpful that we had Officer Hedges here to be able to handle this and
Absolutely.
get it correctly handled.
He's been a wonderful addition.
Yep.
Wonderful addition.
Thank you.
We have a motion and a second. Anyone from the audience? Hearing no one. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you so much.
Thank you, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
And the animals appreciate it. This is Michelle from Shadowroba.
Oh, wow.
Ellen, do you have any?
The only thing I have is the Sunny Meadows update on the residents. We had one transition out last week, so we're down to 2.
Okay.
And then we have the court hearing for the one on December 11th at 8:30. Is that correct, Andrew?
That sounds correct, yes. I will go to my calendar here and confirm that. I have, let's see, yes, and 8:30, of course, they schedule them all at, so there's like a cattle call, so to speak, but 8:30 time for all the eviction hearings, so yes. And I don't know if, will you be able to?
11th this Thursday.
Will you be able to be there? Yes. And we only want one commissioner there because we don't want to have necessarily a majority of commissioners,
Right.
which would be like a public meeting or something. So, Ellen, that's great if you can be there.
Yep.
Plus, you're the Sunny Meadows representative, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're not.
Will Dale be able to be there? Or somebody, whoever would be handling did he help in delivering the notice? Would he have any knowledge of that stuff?
The officer handled the first notice. I handled the second one. I can have the staff member that was with me at the time come out if you want.
That would be good. Yeah, let's have
I'll
that
have
so
her,
that
'cause-
there's a little bit more background on
Yep.
that. Small claims hearings do allow hearsay, but it would be nice if there was one other employee with you.
That's fine. I can have her that was there with me on the time of me.
Yep, okay. No, that handles it. No, yes, sorry, that handles it. Sorry,
He said, no, that handled it.
yep,
So,
Well, want to make sure.
yep.
Susan, anything?
Nope.
Anyone in the audience? Hearing no one, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
so moved.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.